in the studio and Vicki McKenna because there's a major announcement we've been teasing for 2 days.
When Mr. Belling decided to take his program and make it podcast only, obviously that means that we're going to have to make some adjustments.
The next generation is here.
In afternoon drive, it will be the Dan O'Donnell Show from 3 to 6.
Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
We've made it. Almost, at least. Friday afternoon. The weekend is just over the horizon. Until then, how about 3 hours of conservative thought and not just talk for your ride home? Maybe you're already enjoying the weekend. Whatever it is, we have got just the thing for you. How bizarre, strangest stories of the past 7 days coming up in the 5 o'clock hour each and every day. At the end of the 4 o'clock hour, we name the unsung hero of the day. Unhinged Lib coming up today. Today's is, I think, the most viral liberal on social media of the last couple of weeks. Of course, the big story today, President Trump sentenced to nothing. Absolutely nothing.
After careful analysis, in obedience to governing mandates, and pursuant to the rule of law, this court has determined that the only lawful sentence that permits entry of a judgment of conviction without encroaching upon the highest office in the land is an unconditional discharge, which the New York State Legislature has determined is a lawful and permissible sentence for the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree. Therefore, at this time, I impose that sentence to cover all 34 counts. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office. Thank you.
That was Judge Juan Merchan declining to sentence President Trump to anything as part of the worst hush money crime in New York's history. Trump was convicted of 34 different felonies for which he will suffer absolutely no penalty whatsoever. Now, Merchan today took great pains to explain why. That because of the supremacy clause of federal law, the supremacy clause of the Constitution, rather, and the supremacy of federal law, it is impossible to have a sitting United States president be sitting in prison or jail. In other words, President Trump couldn't even be sentenced to probation because, let's say, even inadvertently, he does something to violate the terms of said probation, he would be remanded to what? The New York State prison system? When he needs to run the government of the United States from Washington, D.C. This is what has always been the problem with going after legally a political figure, especially someone like a former and potentially future president. This is why never in the nearly 250-year history of the United States have we done it until 2023, when Democrats decided that the best strategy to try to keep Trump from getting a second term in office would be to throw him in prison instead. And today, just by virtue of what you heard from Judge Juan Merchan, proves that all of this was always political. Mike Davis, who is a prominent conservative attorney on X, he did serve in the last Trump administration, posted yesterday something that is remarkably profound. He addressed this tweet, or X post, to the Supreme Court. Dear Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, he means Judge Merchan is allowing audio tomorrow in the court. He is allowed nothing during the trial. The only reason for this, obviously, is so the world can hear Merchan sentence Donald Trump. If that doesn't scream everything you need to know about this case, I don't know what does. Order a stay. He's absolutely correct. Merchan did not allow cameras in his courtroom. He did not allow audio to be transmitted of anything that goes on in his courtroom. He allowed courtroom sketch artists, and that's pretty much it. Why then, during the sentencing hearing, the very last time anyone will probably ever hear from or care about Judge Juan Merchan again, did he allow at least an audio recording? It's for the exact reason that Davis said. I happen to be watching the Fox News stream of this after it went down. And I believe it was Jonathan Turley. It might have been Andy McCarthy. One of their legal analysts dropped a quote that just lives rent-free in my head and has ever since I first heard it. He said this was a trial by soundbite, that the whole point of this was to get that soundbite that you are convicted, that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Because what this order does, now, Merchan could have had the option to actually vacate the conviction, and that would have achieved the same result. Trump would not have been convicted of any of the crimes against him because obviously it presents a very significant constitutional issue if the president of the United States has the potential to go to prison, if he's got this hanging over his head. But Democrats always wanted the soundbite. This is and always was a trial by soundbite. They wanted the soundbite that they ultimately got today, that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. And I'm willing to wager that across all of the cable news shows tonight, because I heard it repeated several times during CNN's and MSNBC's daytime coverage of this today, Donald Trump enters office as a convicted felon. Donald Trump is a felon. He's a felon. To that I say, that's President Felon to you, libs. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show today, 414-799-1130 is our adventknows.com talk and text line. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. Watch the show streaming live on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there, on Facebook at Dan O'Donnell Show there, and on YouTube. We're trying to get the at Dan O'Donnell Show there, but for now, just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Please do subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast. Now, Juan Merchan, the judge in this case, made it abundantly clear that Trump was being protected by his office and nothing else. That the office that Trump is about to assume protects him from any sort of criminal sentence. Merchan could not have been clearer in that he really, really, really wanted to sentence Trump to prison, but couldn't. And he also made it clear that he was really, really ticked at the voters of this country for sending Trump back to the White House.
It is the office of the president that bestows those far-reaching protections to the office holder. And it was the citizenry of this nation that recently decided that you should once again receive the benefits of those protections, which include, among other things, the Supremacy Clause and presidential immunity. It is through that lens and that reality that this court must determine a lawful sentence.
You mad, bro? You could just tell the halting delivery. He knew that he was being recorded for all posterity. And to convey the gravity of this moment where President Trump would be forever a convicted felon, he had to talk like this. Well, Trump will be a convicted felon until the inevitable appeal, which Trump has already promised, because this, and I know, for those of you who have been listening to me since the start of this trial, we actually played President Trump in his entirety. I made a point in his entirety during my midday show every single day of that trial that he was going outside of the courtroom to talk to reporters. We played it in its entirety because the entire point of that trial was A, to get Trump thrown in prison, B, to get him off the campaign trail, and C, to prevent him through a gag order, which I still believe was thoroughly unconstitutional because the judge made this into a political issue. And when you try a political candidate, everything that happens to them potentially becomes a political issue. Again, this is why we typically don't try presidents and presidential candidates in this country, unless, of course, their name is Trump. Trump, and they could potentially win a trip to the White House again. We played every single moment of Trump speaking, except, of course, on Wednesdays, when there was no court. Just the scheduling of this case itself makes it abundantly clear what this always was. Paul, if you were only required to work 4 days a week, what day would you take off? Friday. I didn't even finish saying the last word of that question. And he is jumping in Friday. The last host of this time slot took off Fridays. Have you ever heard anyone in the world have a 4-day work week, and by choice? Now, some people, nurses, firefighters, whatever. Have you ever heard anyone by choice schedule a day off for Wednesday? Wednesday would seem to me to be the absolute worst day to have off, right? Because you work 2 days, you're off, and then you got to work 2 more days before you get 2 more days off on Saturday and Sunday. So New York's court system, as only New York's court system can, typically will only have trial days 4 days a week. Now, what day do you think almost all the time is taken off? Friday, right? But let's say you're in the middle of a presidential campaign. What are the very best days to hold campaign events? Friday night, Saturday night, even Thursday night. People, far more than when I was a younger man, people I think are more willing and likely to go out on Thursday nights. Now we have Thursday night football every single week. It seems like Thursday is sort of like a weekend practice night. Trump couldn't do that. Trump couldn't hold his rallies. He couldn't be out of New York State on a Thursday night. He had to race out of trial on a Friday. The whole point of scheduling the off day for Wednesday was to screw up Trump's campaign. But here's the thing. It didn't work. Because just as we were playing every single day, Trump speaking to the media, every single day we were logging the poll numbers. And it was during that trial that Trump actually strengthened his position against the then candidate Joe Biden. Why was this? Because the American people didn't necessarily listen to Trump, who was calling this a sham, who was calling this lawfare, who was saying that this was a rigged system every single day. It wasn't even that they were listening to him. They knew intrinsically what this was. And we as Americans intrinsically are disgusted by this sort of thing because it was always third world, banana republic, tin pot dictator style stuff. Consider also this. The case against Trump was long known as the zombie case in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The prior DA, Cyrus Vance, tried his best to prosecute this case, but couldn't because, wouldn't you know it, there wasn't actually any criminal conduct to prosecute. Once Vance leaves and Alvin Bragg takes over, even he said, look, I don't think there's much there. I don't think we can actually prosecute this case. It wasn't until an attorney by the name of Matthew Colangelo joined the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and took over the prosecution of white-collar crimes that the zombie case suddenly roared back to life. Matthew Colangelo joined the Manhattan DA's office just a couple of weeks after Donald Trump announced in November of 2022 that he was running for president again. Where did Matthew Colangelo come to the Manhattan DA's office from? The Biden Justice Department, where he was the number 3 ranking official under Attorney General Merrick Garland. He left one of the cushiest positions in law enforcement or prosecution in the entire country to take what would seem to be a massive step back career-wise and become a line prosecutor in Manhattan, unless you consider that he was ordered to do so in order to make sure that the prosecution of Trump be seen through. It was. and there has been irreparable damage, regardless of the outcome, to the justice system and the concept of a rule of law in this country as a result. We will hear from President Trump, who spoke directly to Judge Merchan before that sentence was handed down. That's coming up next.
Exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0376. That's 800-291-0376. 800-291-0376.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Make your drive into 2025 in a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or a GM certified pre-owned model and save during the New Year's sale at Holiday. Connect with us for enticing offers. Get our low simplified price plus deep closeout savings on remaining new 2024s. Already driving a Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC? Ask us about GM loyalty rewards that may benefit you or someone in your household. They're available on many Wisconsin new car favorites this month. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
The Gersh Group is bookkeepers, consultants, and mentors of profitability for owner-operated businesses. Running your business requires choosing what role you'll fill every day. Often financial review, a seemingly less pressing need, drops down the priority list. The difference between succeeding in business and creating wealth is often knowing profitability real time. Eliminating losses or maximizing profit doesn't happen after the fact. When the Gersh Group closes your books monthly, provides a dashboard demonstrating accurate financials, you are free to run your business by the metric you're in business for. The money. If you can borrow $1 and turn it into 10, you would, right? Gersh tracks working capital and debt ratios, making business financing needs in relation to increasing profit predictable. Your CPA not having to reinvent your year at tax time saves you money. When Gersh Group introduces you to your numbers, then reintroduces them monthly, now your business can graduate from successful to generating wealth. We'll show you how. Fostering success by the numbers. Gersh Group. GershGroup.com.
Jerry Bott here for Canine Resorts of Brookfield Luxury Pet Hotel and Daycare, which prides itself on offering a home-away-from-home experience for dogs. There are half-day and full-day care options, perfect for busy or working owners who want to enrich their pet's day. Exercise, socialization, attention, your dog will get plenty at Canine Resorts. My dog loved it, so will yours. Canine Resorts is on Blue Mound Road in Brookfield. Just stop in and take a tour. Through February, if you're a new customer, mention WISN when you register and get 3 days of daycare free.
It's not the first time this has happened. At Lisbon Storm Screen and Door, we take a lot of pride in a lot of things, and providing top-notch service for customers who buy our high-quality windows and doors is one of them. What this leads to is happy customers. Unfortunately, it can also lead to talent poachers. Now, we don't take it personally. We understand it's a dog-eat-dog business, and everybody out there's clawing to get good people. And we do all we can to hold on to ours. So when a big-name window company calls our service manager directly to offer him a position because he fixed one of their jobs that they couldn't, we just take it in stride. It's a badge of honor. This is David Wilhelm. You can skip the frustration of poor workmanship. At Lisbon Storm Screen and Door, we have good people that take pride in their work. And when you join that with the best products this industry has to offer, you'll see why we're your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Drama. 11-game Green Bay winning streak over Chicago over. Intrigue.
Obviously, we're not going in with momentum, but who cares?
When the impossible becomes possible. The little team that could came into Big D and take out the Cowboys. Sunday, the Packers are in Philly for a first-round matchup with the Eagles. Doug Russell is live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook at 11 a.m. Kickoff at 3:30 on your home for the Green Bay Packers. 97.3 The Game. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
We are kicking it here on the Dan O'Donnell Show until 6 p.m. It's classical conservatism, contemporary style. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that in the first couple of weeks, I think we're at about a week and a half of doing the show in this afternoon, I've made it clear that I want to include a whole lot of listener input. And this is why, you know, we'll have fun games where I try to have you be creative. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes I get responses that are just so intelligent, that are just so classy, that are just so good. I have to share them with you in a special segment that we call The Most Intelligent Response Dan Has Gotten Today. In response to President Trump not being sentenced today after his criminal trial, but the criminal conviction being enshrined and Trump being a felon, we had a regular texter on our adventknows.com talk and text line who typically will text us all manner of provocative and insightful liberal thought, really surmise what the left is thinking today, now that Trump is, yes, a convicted felon. And I think the only way that we can really convey how intelligent, insightful, and classy this is by, as we always do in this segment, reading it in a classy and intelligent British accent. So here we have one of our listeners texting in the most intelligent response to Trump's sentence that Dan has heard today. He writes, me. Are we ready? Here we go. Felon, Cheeto, Hitler. And that was pretty much it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the most intelligent response Dan has heard today. President Trump spoke in court before that sentence was handed down, and he spoke for about 5 to 6 minutes. I want to play for you about 1:45 what he closed with, because I think this is the most relevant, where he really takes aim at the farce that was this case against him.
I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong. They talked about business records, and the business records were extremely accurately counted. I had nothing to do with them. Any of it. That was done by an accountant or a bookkeeper who I think gave very credible testimony and was corroborated by everybody that was asked. And with all that's happening in our country today, with a city that's burning to the ground, one of our largest, most important cities burning to the ground, with wars that are uncontrollably going on, with all of the problems of inflation and attacks on countries and all of the horrible things that are going on, I got indicted over calling a legal expense a legal expense. It was called a legal expense. I just want to say I think it's an embarrassment to New York, and New York has a lot of problems, but this is a great embarrassment. I believe that this and other cases that were brought, as you know, the DOJ is very much involved in this case. It's because that's the political opponent they're talking about. The DOJ is very involved. You have a gentleman sitting right there from the DOJ who was from the DOJ's office. He was also involved with the New York State Attorney General's case. And he went from there to here. He went around and did what he had to do. He got them to move on me. But in the meantime, I won the election in a massive landslide, and the people of this country understand what's gone on. This has been a weaponization of government. They call it lawfare. Never happened to any extent like this, but never happened in our country before. And I'd just like to explain that I was treated very, very unfairly.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. And in fact, it wasn't just that he was the first former and future president ever to be tried. He was the first American citizen ever to be tried or criminally charged under this particular theory of the case that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office prosecuted him on and Judge Juan Merchan allowed. We'll get into that and how exactly and why exactly all of this backfired so spectacularly when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
It's the Mark Belling Football Preview Podcast. Mike Millett of American Sports Analyst and I preview the football weekend and give you point spread picks with a special focus on the Packers and Badgers. My producer Paul and an audience contestant make their picks too. A weekend football preview from a betting perspective. My weekly football preview and picking contest is a podcast too. The Mark Belling Football Preview Podcast drops every Thursday evening at 6:30. Available all weekend.
Next Tuesday, you'll go to your business. You'll stand there in your office and make decisions. I think when you make decisions, it might be well for you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for your business to buy things you need to increase profitability than it was 4 years ago? Does your business have more or less unemployment? Is your business as respected as it was? Do you feel your business is on as secure financial grounds as it was 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then, I think your choice is very obvious as to who handles your brand and marketing. If you don't think the marketing course is what you would like to see your business follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
And it is improving the economy one business at a time. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com. I'mADishWeb.com.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. You really believed your paths were one and the same until death do you part. Your best interest was their best interest. Increasingly, it's clear you are on divergent paths, having grown apart in interests, goals, even morality. Having made it through the latest battery of holidays, you're now resolved to make your own way. Divergent Family Law is experienced attorneys who will make sure your path is not the lesser of two traversed as you go separate ways. Wisconsin statutes have no provisions for love, hate, or anger. Divorce is the disassembly of a legal contract, the division of assets, and the legal assignment of responsibility for property that cannot be physically divided. No judge or parent can split children in two, physically or emotionally. Family law is experiential. With Divergent Family Law, the outcome is predictable. Our attorneys can tell you up front with considerable accuracy the details of your divorce decree because we know Wisconsin family law. We know the adjudicators and we know your rights. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal, or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, the certainty of protection and income are the keys to success. And as a former NFL player myself, I have experience with both. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game films helped me mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. Now I star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception to help you visualize and prepare for your fourth quarter of life. You see, you don't retire on your nest egg, but rather the income it can produce. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. And it's free for you to view. Call 844-763-2896 right now for your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Don't risk your retirement savings at the goal line. You don't need to be risky to have a winning strategy. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Call today, 844-763-2896. That's 844-763-2896. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
The following takes place in a Capital Heating and Cooling truck.
Step on the gas, Seth. Roger that, Captain. We need to get Miss Johnson's furnace repaired fast. She couldn't believe we do same-day repairs. Or that Capital works 7 days a week. It's Sunday, and we'll have her heat back on today. It's the right thing to do. Same-day repair. 7 days a week. Same-day repair. 7 days a week.
Capital One, do you read me?
Loud and clear, Laura.
You guys almost to Miss Johnson's house? We need to get her furnace repaired fast.
Be there in T-minus 3 minutes.
Step on the gas, Seth.
I already stepped on it. I already told him.
Roger that.
We'll contact you when the Eagle lands. Capital One, out. Same-day repair. 7 days a week. Same-day repair. 7 days a week.
Capital Heating and Cooling can repair your furnace same day, 7 days a week. Schedule online at callcapitalcares.com.
What's on your holiday wish list? How about a beautiful new bath from Bathfitter? Just for our listeners, Bathfitter is offering an extra holiday gift. 0% financing for 72 months. Bathfitter of Milwaukee provides easy, no-mess bathroom remodeling solutions that last a lifetime. They can install right over your tub or can convert it to a walk-in shower. And they clean up so well, you'll never know they were there. Make your wish come true. Call Bathfitter 262-395-4925 to get your Bathfitter before the holidays.
Who's looking for a deal? Well, Cousin Subs has a better deal just for you. Cousin's new $10 meal deals are now available online only. Choose between a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub, a bag of chips or regular fry, a regular fountain beverage, and cookie at cousinsubs.com or on the mobile app for just $10. Now that's a better deal. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. Available at participating locations only. Offer subject to change without notice.
What's up, everybody? Adnan Burke here to tell you about a new podcast. It's NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here, and after playing 700 NHL games, I got a lot of dirty laundry to air out.
Each week we'll get together to chat about the sport that we love.
But we're not just going to be talking hockey, folks. We're talking movies, we're talking TV, food, and Adnan's favorite, wrestling. It's all on Le Table.
Listen to NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers and start listening.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we name the unhinged liberal of the day. Someone who is supposed to be saving you, but is instead going to blame you for being stupid. And wouldn't you know it, that person probably isn't the one you want in charge of saving an entire city that is burning to the ground because of liberal mismanagement. And on the same day that Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, drops an absolute bombshell on the Joe Rogan podcast, Gavin Newsom wants misinformation censored. You won't want to miss the 4 o'clock hour, because I think what we're talking about now, and we're talking about next hour in the form of censorship and what constitutes a free and open press and an informed electorate, are the two foundational issues and the two issues that have been the hallmarks of the Biden era. Inasmuch as there was a Biden era, as you know, I have never believed that Joe Biden was actually the president. Who is? Well, as I have put it many times, a nameless, faceless cabal of 30 and 40-something they-thems are actually running the country. Well, the cabal of 30 and 40-something they-thems in Los Angeles is absolutely being exposed, and people are now wondering, is it so bad that even libs in Los Angeles are going to start to vote Republican? Boy, if losing everything you have because the mayor gutted the fire department budget and refused to fill up water reservoirs so that they could have more money for more DEI programs, I don't know what is. Speaking of Zuckerberg, it's remarkable, this guy's transformation. He starts doing MMA, and within 3-4 months, he's talking exactly like Dana White. Do you realize today Facebook just announced that they're getting rid of all of their corporate DEI programs? Did Elon Musk secretly buy Facebook too? What is going on here? When I say Zuckerberg dropped a bombshell, it really is. I mean, we knew that the FBI, Zuckerberg was on Rogan a couple of years ago, I think 2022 in August, and he said, yes, we had the FBI essentially embedded with us at Facebook and saying, in the run-up to the 2020 election, we know that there's going to be this thing involving Hunter Biden. We know it's Russian disinformation. Don't let it spread on your platform. We knew that was going on, and he sort of reaffirmed that today. But what he also said about the Biden administration's role in censoring the free speech of Americans makes me continue to believe that this was, in fact, the single biggest systemic First Amendment violation in the history of the United States. What we have seen over the past 2 years has been the biggest systemic abuse of one of the most awesome powers that government at all levels has, and that's the power to take away your freedom or even your very life by prosecuting you and putting you on trial. When that power is abused, when it is used against political enemies, we cease having a rule of law in this country. We cease having a constitutional republic, and instead we are governed only by the tip of a sword. Whoever is most powerful and whoever can impose their will on the rest of us through the use or even threat of political prosecution, which eventually becomes persecution, we no longer have America. Now, that may sound melodramatic, but it is true. There is no greater threat to this country than the collapse of a rule of law that the people have faith in. We are nothing more as a nation than a social contract. We abide by certain societal rules. Paul, for instance, screwed up beyond all recognition, the unhinged liberal of the day segment yesterday. I abide by a social contract of not walking into the producer's room and beating him with his own cell phone that I knew he was on. Instead, he's got it on. I can see it glowing, which means you were just on it. What are you on? Is that Apple News? What are you scrolling instead of paying attention to this show? JS Online. All right, at least you're trying. What are you looking at that fish wrapper for? What are you doing? Are you trying to get all of the news that we covered yesterday on the JS Online app? We abide by a social contract that I don't resort to violence when I have a workplace dispute. We all abide by certain limitations on the freedom we enjoy as Americans in exchange for getting the protection of government and getting the protection of the United States of America. It's a social contract. When we can no longer rely on that social contract, when, for example, if you just happen to be walking around the Capitol, which, by the way, is literally known as the People's House, you can be thrown in a gulag for 4 years, and you can be held without trial, essentially the writ of habeas corpus suspended because, oh my goodness, we're facing an honest-to-God insurrection. We no longer have anything recognizable as a United States justice system. When criminal justice is replaced by social justice, and as Trump said said. We played his soundbite in our last segment. He said, look, the New York District Attorney's Office is ignoring or pleading down all manner of violent crimes, but instead they're going after me. They're going after Daniel Penny for an obvious self-defense case in which he protected an entire subway full of people from a guy who was screaming that he didn't care about going back to jail and was going to kill somebody that day. We no longer have justice if we no longer have the fundamental belief that justice isn't being abused. And what was it that the left was petrified of after Trump won? That he was going to try to use the justice system to get revenge against those who wronged him. Well, wait a second. Are we just going to ignore how the justice system at all levels in New York State, in the state of Georgia, and two separate prosecutions run unconstitutionally, I might add? There was no formal appointment of a special counsel. President Biden just sort of waved a magic wand, maybe nodded off for a couple of seconds, but when he woke up, voila, a special counsel appeared. It doesn't work like that. But two separate prosecutions, both prosecutions of things that were totally lawful, totally, completely lawful behavior. The Georgia prosecution, asking the Secretary of State of the state of Georgia for an investigation into vote fraud, is protected political speech. It can't be prosecuted. This isn't some wild conspiracy. Saying, hey, I think the election was stolen from me is protected political speech. That's not a federal crime. And the fact that this was being, for the first time in American history, mind you, used against a former president, the guy who just happened to be the leading Republican opposition candidate to the regime in power, makes this all the more odious. Let's go out to the phones, and our old friend from Oconomowoc, he has followed me all the way from morning to afternoon drive. Bill, great to talk to you again, my friend. How have you been?
Happy New Year, Dan. It's good to hear from you again. I enjoy our debates. I really do. I'm really happy to see you moved up. You've got a strong listener base, and we'll be checking in with you if you allow it to be. And today, I guess, topic of discussion is legitimizing Donald Trump, correct?
I mean, sure. He's the president-elect of the United States. I think he's already been legitimized.
Well, the count on the felonies have been unanimous decisions, all convictions, correct? Stop me when I'm wrong, because you're a lawyer, I'm not.
Sure, yes.
So you just jump in and talk
yes.
over me.
Trump
anytime I've got it wrong.
Was convicted 34 times, yes.
Okay, so moving forward, now you're not as old as I am. I'm a lot older than you. I do remember Dwight Eisenhower. I got to meet him because of my dad.
Oh, wow.
I do remember John Kennedy because my dad was in the Army. He was an officer during World War II.
Sure.
He communicated with him. I remember the integrity, the honesty, the diplomacy, the legitimacy, the humanitarianism, and the humility that was part of our presidential office. Now, 2025, we enter a whole new perspective that was brought out. Now, Jimmy Carter did not plan to pass away when he did, but his timing was impeccable. And we saw the legitimate presidents, and then we saw the new president. We know his history.
Hold on, Bill. I guess my question would be, what makes Trump an illegitimate president? Do you think that he didn't actually win the 2024 election? Because that sort of thing, my friend, could get you prosecuted in Georgia or a federal prosecution.
We know the felony. Now, we've never had a president with one felony, let alone 36, correct?
Well, 34, but yeah. I guess the question, since this is about legitimacy, and Bill, I don't mean to cut you off. We are running up against the break. Since this is about legitimacy, the issue is not in whether or not Trump was convicted. The issue is, what were those convictions for? Okay, 34 different felonies were not actually 34 different crimes. It was the same crime repeated 34 different times. That is almost never done because of the possibility of double jeopardy or anything like that. Okay, so essentially you're prosecuted for the same crime once. Trump was prosecuted 34 different times. Now, the problem with this is that what Trump was accused to have done, falsifying business records, was a misdemeanor. The statute of limitations had long since passed. As I said, this was the zombie case that was resurrected, but you couldn't prosecute it unless it was a felony. The only felony that could have been potentially violated here was in the falsification of business records. It also messed with campaign finance reporting. That's a federal crime. At no point in the history of the United States did a local prosecutor ever use as what's known as a predicate crime or an underlying crime, a federal crime, because he doesn't have jurisdiction to prosecute said crime. But in order to get around the statute of limitations here, the prosecutor, Bragg, and the judge, Merchan, allowed a novel theory in which a local prosecutor could essentially prosecute a federal crime for the first time ever. Never been done before in the history of this country, and it just happened to be done against the leading candidate for president in the middle of the presidential campaign. When you talk about legitimacy, does that sound legitimate to you?
Talk Radio redefined. Dan O'Donnell will be right back. It's time for Rapid Traffic.
From the Lynch Truck Center, Total Traffic Center, 4145 northbound. Still got a stall on the right shoulder approaching Holy Hill, not really causing a problem. You do have a delay north of there between Sherman and Highway 60. Southbound delays between Hampton and Capitol. If you see any issues, you can call the Total Traffic Tip line at 414-944-5111.
This report is sponsored by the Ben Ferguson Podcast.
Donald Trump just days away from being president yet again. So if you want to know what's going on in his presidency, you need to download and listen to the Ben Ferguson Podcast every day. We will break down his agenda items, the executive orders. Download the Ben Ferguson Podcast now.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cabovers than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time Accunet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Remember looking forward to playing with your kids or grandkids and having the energy to? At Total Health, we hear it all the time. People say I'm too tired and worn out to be the person my spouse married or parent or grandparent my family deserves. Sound familiar? Total Health naturopaths find root causes of fatigue and lethargy, then treat you, the whole person, restoring energy and overall wellness. It could be dietary or thyroid function, or maybe you just need to drop some weight. Big Medicine's weight loss injection causing stomach, gallbladder, intestinal, and vascular problems works for them. Sick people are profitable. If excess weight is a contributing factor to you not feeling your best, Total Health naturopaths will never judge you. We'll be honest, providing the tools and motivation to lose weight. Then we'll be with you throughout your journey to feeling happy, healthier, energetic, and well. Be that person your family deserves. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
When you need to know what it all means, that's when you need us. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Fire up your DVR. It's time for your TV tip-off.
On Tuesday the 21st, after 11 years away, the unscripted hoax The Joe Schmo Show returns for a 4th season at 9/8 Central on TBS. Also on Tuesday the 21st, the sports docuseries The Verdict premieres at 10/9 Central on Vice Channel. Wednesday the 22nd, it's a 9th season of investigations into the unknown on Expedition X at 9/8 Central on Discovery Channel. Thursday night the 23rd, Holiday Granger and Tom Burke are back for season 6 of the British detective drama CB Strike, which comes to the U.S. at 9/8 Central on HBO. On Friday the 24th, the Mad Men of Magic are back for an 11th season of the competition Penn and Teller Fool Us at 8/7 Central on the CW. Sunday the 26th, Morris Chestnut stars as Sherlock Holmes' sidekick solving cases after his friend's murder in the mystery drama Watson, debuting at 10/9 Central on CBS. I'm Lex Hohen, and that's your TV tip-off on iHeartRadio.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. It's insight and irreverence. And each and every day we try to bring you both by naming the unhinged liberal of the day.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is the assistant fire chief for the Los Angeles Fire Department, Christine Larson. An old video of hers has been blowing up on TikTok, on X, pretty much everywhere on social media. She is a woman, obviously. She is also a member of the LGBTQ plus minus ampersand community. And she wants you to know that while she is very obviously a DEI hire and probably not totally qualified for her $230,000 plus salary, because she's obviously not physically strong enough to drag someone out of a burning building, if you're in a burning building, well, it's your own damn fault anyway.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Yeah. So if I'm burning alive in a fire, I don't care if the person who's carrying me out looks like me or is 12 feet tall and has a sphinx head. If they can carry me out, they can carry me out. Christine Larson is your unhinged liberal of the day. When we come back, much more on the LA wildfires, DEI, censorship, and more.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Officials in L.A. earlier shared the latest on how they're battling a string of deadly wildfires. Fox's Kristen Goodwin.
Director of LA County's Office of Emergency Management, Kevin McGowan, says he's working to resolve an issue with the wireless emergency alert system that's been incorrectly sending fire evacuation alerts across the county, urging folks not to disable the messages.
This is extremely frustrating, painful, and scary, but these alert tools have saved lives during this emergency.
LA County Fire Chief Anthony Maroney says a Super Scooper plane battling the Palisades fire that was hit by a civilian drone should be fixed by Monday.
Flying a drone in the fire traffic area is not only dangerous, but it's illegal.
Stressing drones force officials to shut down aerial operations. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Parents of some students at a school in Heartland want to know more details after a fourth grade student threatened to bring a gun to school and shoot some female classmates. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
This happened at Divine Redeemer Lutheran School. Parents say this actually was back on December 17th, but they weren't told about the threat for several days. The school says it was a non-credible threat, and at no time were any students in danger.
And work can now begin on a new engineering building at UW-Madison.
Last month, the State Building Commission split along partisan lines in a 4-4 vote to deny a request from the UW system to reapportion $29 million from other projects and approve funding for the engineering building. On Friday, new Republican member Senator Mary Felskowski joined Governor Tony Evers, two other Democrats, and the commission's citizen member in voting yes. 3 Republicans again voted no. The Philip A. Levy Engineering Center is expected to be ready for classes in fall 2028 with a projected cost of more than $419 million. Bob Haig, Wisconsin Radio Network.
The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow down today, 696 points. The NASDAQ fell 317, while the S&P lost 91. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Packers linebacker Quay Walker and safety Evan Williams did practice today and are expected to play Sunday in their wild card matchup against the Eagles. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, WISN News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Cloudy skies for your day today with a few chances of flurries or a few snow showers heading into the afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the upper 20s. We'll be tracking temperatures dropping into the teens tonight. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusion supply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0376. That's 800-291-0376. 800-291-0376.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Get ready for kickoff with great deals on football party must-haves all this week at Sendik's. Check out Sendik's Natural Black Angus Ground Chuck for just $4.99 a pound. USDA Black Angus Flank Steak is just $9.99 a pound. A 2-pound bag of Texas Wild Jumbo Gulf Shrimp, 16 to 20 count, is just $19.99 a bag. That's less than $10 a pound. And don't miss Sendik's homemade guacamole for just $9.99 a pound. Let Sendik's help you score big at your game day party. Sendik's, your trusted local grocer.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here.
Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
I'm Matt Geyer, founder of MKG Transport, manufacturers from Madison to Green Bay to Fond du Lac to Kenosha to Rockford's competitive advantage. In 2008, MKG was me driving one truck and my wife running the business. We realized communication is a huge advantage for MKG partner businesses. So did they. Well, MKG Transportation's capabilities quickly expanded. Our commitment to local manufacturers' success never wavered. MKG is not a shipping company or messy freight brokerage. We are in manufacturing process delivery experts. It's simple, like seeing freight ready to go on your dock and your MKG mover asking if you need it handled, to becoming an extension of your shop, understanding needs and scheduling, and making sure MKG is prepared to help as and when you need. You'll wonder if your MKG moving team is getting briefings from your work-in-progress status meetings. Movers care and recognize your consistency is keeping trucks in service and close to be able to handle your needs. Same day, next day. Our drive, manufacturing movement. MKGtransport.com.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Statewide.
If you're a fan of our Wisconsin sports teams, here's the perfect podcast for you. The Larrivee and LePay podcast with 2 Hall of Fame broadcasters. Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, and Matt LePay, the voice of Wisconsin Badgers football and men's basketball. Together bringing you insights and guests talking Packers, Badgers, Brewers, Bucks, and more. Listen to the Larrivee and LePay podcast. Available anytime on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
As promised, I have in the studio here with me Program Director Jerry Bott. We've got Dan O'Donnell in the studio, Ben Yount in the studio, and Vicki McKenna, because there's a major announcement we've been teasing for 2 days.
When Mr. Belling decided to take his program and make it podcast only, obviously that means that we're going to have to make some adjustments.
The next generation is here.
In Afternoon Drive, it will be the Dan O'Donnell Show from 3 to 6.
Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Yesterday, I surmised that someone was going to have to be the fall guy, or in this case, gal, for the massive failures that are currently burning Los Angeles. And I speculated that it was going to be the rather obviously inept Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, who was in Ghana for the inauguration of that country's president when she wouldn't even be in the same city as Donald Trump for our own country's presidential inauguration in 10 days. She was going to take the blame for this. It is happening. It is happening with rather remarkable speed. Just a day after California's governor, Gavin Newsom, said it was misinformation and fake news when Donald Trump said that firefighters did not have water in the hydrants to fight the fires that were spreading out of control very quickly, he has now, within the last hour, ordered an investigation as to why Los Angeles did not have any fire. I request, he writes, that LADPW and Los Angeles County officials swiftly prepare a comprehensive review examining their local preparation and response procedures to ensure available water supply for emergencies and document any causes of the loss of water pressure and unavailability of water supplies. I am requesting you fully and transparently share information and records for the state's after incident review. Now, this comes as it has become apparent that the failures were so systemic that the Santa Ynez Reservoir in the Pacific Palisades that holds 117 million gallons of water for just these sorts of things, like, you know, filling fire hydrants, was empty. It was empty because it went offline for previously scheduled maintenance. On the heels of this, and I want to make sure I get this television station right, I believe it's the Fox affiliate in Los Angeles, within the last probably half hour. This is, yes, I believe it. Yes, it is the Fox affiliate, Fox 11 in L.A. A reporter was talking with Kristen Crowley, who is the City of Los Angeles fire chief, and asked her flat out, did city officials fail you?
Did the City of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Now, it doesn't end there. The anchors at this point, they are on live TV. It's a live afternoon show. I think pretty much every news station is going wall to wall with coverage here. So they have the fire chief on. The reporter is in the field. And at that point, the anchors want to ask about that empty reservoir.
Chief Kristen Crowley, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question back there. Had some comments.
We do, Gigi. If you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water, they're going to go find water. They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you...
Now, I'm just going to interject very quickly here. Crowley was repeatedly fighting against the proposed budget cuts, which we now know, as of just a couple of weeks ago, were possibly going to be far more significant. In fact, there were going to be cuts on top of the $17.6 million cuts to firefighting that actually went into effect, and more than the $23 million in cuts that the mayor, Karen Bass, actually proposed. So Crowley has been fighting against this for quite some time, and the reporter follows up on Gigi, I guess her name is. She was in the field and saw some of those firefighters trying to work without having water in the hydrants.
Concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
That is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, you know, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs. And so
let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work, and did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
This comes on the heels of an explosive Daily Mail report. The UK Daily Mail reported that Bass called for an additional $49 million in cuts to the fire department just 1 week before those wildfires started. They would have shut down 16 different fire stations. The UK Daily Mail obtained a leaked internal memo that reads in relevant part, the LAFD is still going through financial year 2024-2025 $48.8 million budget reduction exercise with the city attorney's office. The only way to provide a real cost savings would be to close as many as 16 fire stations, not resources, fire stations. This equates to at least one fire station per city council district. This was proposed by the mayor, Karen Bass, and it is abundantly clear Gavin Newsom is not going down with this ship. The LA fire chief, Crowley, I think, has seen her face plastered all over Fox News and the internet as being a DEI hire, celebrating the fact in an interview with Fox 11 just a couple of months ago that she wanted to make the fire department far more inclusive, far more diverse. And this is where you get people like our unhinged liberal of the day, that assistant fire chief, who also happens to be named Kristen Larson. She's going viral currently on both TikTok and X, soon to be joined by Facebook as the only free speech platforms are out there, and we'll explain Mark Zuckerberg coming up later on in the show. His very, very significant interview on the Joe Rogan show today. Kristen Larson is going viral saying, yeah, if I can't carry your husband out of a burning building, he got himself in the wrong place, so it's really his fault. They're not going to take the blame for this. We got to play this soundbite again, right? You think this is not an accurate depiction of what this woman sounds like.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person.
Okay. When they say stuff like this, does that mean I can demand only white firefighters show up to my house? I'm sorry, black guy who is kicking down a door to save me from a fire. I would much rather have someone who looks like me. Is there anybody who is going to point out this obvious fallacy in what they think to be logical thought?
And a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better.
Okay, wait. Again, I'm going to play this whole thing. Can only a white firefighter understand my house is on fire? What more understanding do you need? I understand it. You understand it. Get me the hell out of the burning building.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better.
How much more ease? I am on the roof. I am in my pajamas. I'm barefoot. The dog is somewhere in the house. But it's going to put me at ease that there is a genderqueer black female who's coming to save me. Okay, Kristen. Now, she then answers questions about, hey, are you able to actually drag a fully grown man out of a burning building?
Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire? Which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
No, your response is carry him out of the freaking fire, you incompetent DEI hire hack. Well, it's his fault for getting in the fire. What? So the Christians who are in charge of the LA Fire Department are not going to be blamed. Who is the easiest person to blame? Why, the mayor, who says things like this in press conferences after jetting off to Ghana for a few days.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL.
Yes.
Los Angeles together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters.
Like Kristen and Kristen. They are true heroicists. And their heroicism is evident with every single person that they blame for being stuck in a fire. Is there anyone competent? Truly, is there anyone at any level of any leadership in government in the city of Los Angeles, any of its surrounding communities, or the state of California? None. There is absolutely none. No one is competent. And do you know why? Because the people accept this sort of nonsense. This is what happens, libs. All of you libs listening to me in the city of Madison, in Shorewood, in Whitefish Bay, you are just looking down your noses at the uneducated right-wing slobs who are racist and sexist and homophobic and want firefighters who are actually physically capable of performing the job. These are the people that empower people like Kristen, whatever her name is. The one who just isn't going to be able to rescue you because you shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Like Karen Bass, like Gavin Newsom. Do you know what these people do? Do you know what these people do? This might be the most California lib story I think I have ever heard. So there was a family that runs like a food truck, a catering business, and they set up shop in a neighborhood that was practically gone. And they were giving out free hot dogs to people who had lost everything, and the firefighters who were competent and were actually trying to pull people out of burning buildings and save. Would you believe one of those libs actually called the health department to see if they were illegally selling hot dogs?
The city of Pasadena just approached me right now, guys, and they were asking if we were selling because we're not allowed to sell. And I'm telling them we're not selling. We're here volunteering. We're just trying to feed the people that lost their homes, that are being affected, and, the first responders and all that. No, yeah, I already told them. They said they just needed to check.
Of course they did. Folks, you get the government you vote for. You get the government you deserve.
It's time for Rapid Traffic.
From the Lynch Truck Center, Total Traffic Center, 43 northbound, got a stalled vehicle on the exit to Locust. You could get by on the left side of that ramp. 94 eastbound, heavy from 84th to 27th. Westbound delays approaching 27th over to 68th. If you see any issues, call the Total Traffic Tip line at 414-944-5111. I'm Kevin Henry.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
I'm Dr. Dan Ross of Ross Dental New Berlin and our second Ross Dental Waukesha location. In dentistry, technology improves your experience ongoing if your dentist keeps up. We do. Most dentists finish same-day dental restorations the next visit, or the visit after that, after you're fitted with a temporary restoration. At Ross Dental, you come in with one tooth or teeth in need of substantial restoration and leave the same day with a fully restored, beautiful smile. With Ross's sedation dentistry, we can even replace a whole upper or lower arch of severely damaged or decayed teeth painlessly and quickly. Using Ross Dental's cutting-edge CEREC, I scan your prep tooth and send the precise AutoCAD-generated dimensions to our in-house mill. You relax. A filling or crown matching your natural tooth enamel is fabricated in minutes for perfect same-day, healthful, permanent restoration. With Ross Dental's affordable financing and convenient New Berlin and Waukesha locations, you can schedule same-day restorations, and very soon you'll smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com. That's RossDentalWI.com.
Next Tuesday, you'll go to your business. You'll stand there in your office and make decisions. I think when you make decisions, it might be well for you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for your business to buy things you need to increase profitability than it was 4 years ago? Does your business have more or less unemployment? Is your business as respected as it was? Do you feel your business is on as secure financial grounds as it was 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then, I think your choice is very obvious as to who handles your brand and marketing. If you don't think the marketing course is what you would like to see your business follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
And it is improving the economy, one business at a time. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com, I'mATishWeb.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at ManderCollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Never drive drunk. If you do, don't believe police officers who tell you it's just a ticket and a 6-month suspension. Pay it and put this behind you. You'll likely have to install an ignition interlock device to blow into before starting your car. Protects the public and shames you with your friends and family. Your license will be revoked. You can go to jail for 1 year if caught driving revoked. Even if you swear you did never drive revoked, most people do. With a to and from work permit, 1 snowstorm, long meeting, or traffic jam, and you're driving revoked. An officer runs your plate while driving, and you're in even more serious trouble. You'll participate in alcohol and drug assessments, a driver's safety plan, and alcohol classes. You could even lose your job. Prosecutors will tenaciously prosecute you without empathy, regardless of your clean driving record. Your first DUI conviction never disappears from your record. Just a ticket and 6-month suspension, and a Scarlet A for life. Charged with an OWI, your best chance is to call my team of award-winning former state prosecutors. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Happy New Year. You got to get to Built Right today. Dan O'Donnell here for my longtime friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's New Year's sale and $1 million clearance sell-off are held over. Give your home a refresh in the new year. Built Right has the most experienced team and the best selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses. 4 generations, 97 years strong. Built Right's one location always saves you money. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
You know, I'm in a really good mood today, Paul. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's Friday. It has nothing to do with the fact that we've got one of my favorite segments of the week, How Bizarre, coming up. We're talking to Wayne Larrivee about the Packers playoff matchup against Philadelphia. I had yet another reminder that the kids are all right. We had a job shadow in today, a Marquette student. He's a freshman home for winter break by the name of Nick. I actually met him at the Trump rally right before Election Day, and I happened to be talking. I went and found a friend of mine in the crowd, and we were talking and ended up talking to this group of Marquette kids in front of us, and he introduced himself. He's a broadcasting student and wanted to learn about he's doing a podcast, and he just kind of, practices, and he wanted to see how it was. I was like, hey, come on in. Very mature. Yeah. And, it just made me think, hey, there are way more Nicks. Hey, I've got one who also happens to be named Nick, who he and all of his friends, it's kind of remarkable how many are conservative, and not just conservative. Oh, yeah, my mom and dad voted for Trump, so I guess I'm going to vote for Trump. That's sort of how I was initially a Republican. I didn't really have a strong ideological mooring, and my mom and dad were always Republican. Well, they were Democrats, and then they became Republicans during the Reagan Revolution and realized how insane, even back then, the far left Dems were. But I didn't really have that ideological, that philosophical depth that a lot more kids have. And I think a big part of that is the fact that they have information quite literally on demand. You are bombarded with politics. You can seek out and get any information. You have the sum total of human knowledge in your pocket at all times on your cell phone. I mean, think about that for a second, how powerful that is. So it renewed my vigor for the future of America, because it reminded me that one of the biggest increases that Trump saw, according to exit polling in demographics, was young men. Young men, I think, have been radicalized because liberalism has declared them to be the enemy. If you are a straight, white, Christian male, you are the stated enemy. You are, by virtue of your race, your gender, and your religion. All the things that the left says we're not supposed to judge you on, you are immediately judged to be a bad person. You must be racist. You must be a misogynist. You must be a sexual predator. You must be feared. You must be kept down because you have kept down others for centuries. So I'm 18 years old. How could I have kept that? Doesn't matter. You're a white male. You're continuing the legacy of slavery and the patriarchy, or whatever. And these are the dudes who are on the front lines of crazy, right? They have to deal with the high school teachers, the college professors, the radical feminists in class, the dating pool. My goodness, I would not want to be dating. The utter insanity of 20-something women. We did on the midday show right after Trump won. We played epic Trump meltdowns on TikTok. You remember that? Yeah, Paul would listen on his way in. It was insane, and almost all of them were 20-something women. Well, what happens when people like that aren't just college students and aren't just college professors, but actually become empowered by the people who think like them to rise to positions of power? That's how you get Karen Bass. Rick Caruso, who is the Republican developer, if he's not a billionaire, he's got to be close. He ran for mayor against Bass, and Bass won pretty easily because she's a black woman. It's very obviously not because of her qualifications. She thought the website URL that you would go to for assistance was literally URL. She thought heroism was pronounced heroicism. Heroicism? Heroicism. Is that how you pronounce it? She was on Biden's shortlist to be his running mate, to be a heartbeat away from the presidency, not because she was just such an exemplary congresswoman, but he said explicitly, I am going to run with a black woman. When you do that, you limit the possibility of anybody else potentially being qualified enough for the position. Nobody ever said, oh, well, we're not going to hire a black woman. It has been illegal since the 60s to discriminate on the basis of race or gender or anything like that. But we pretend that we're somehow living in the Jim Crow South, which, by the way, was totally controlled by Democrats throughout the entire Jim Crow period, you historically illiterate morons. we like to pretend that somehow the only way that we can allow black women to get ahead is by putting white men down. That somehow not looking for the best, most qualified person, regardless of race or gender or religion or anything, we got to find a black woman. What did Biden then say? He promised to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. We got Ketanji Brown Jackson, who during her confirmation hearings said, I'm not qualified to tell you what a woman is because I'm not a biologist. I'm just an idiot radio host. I can tell you what a woman is. Put me on the Supreme Court. Oh, wait, you can't because I'm a white man. We're seeing the failure of not selecting the best, but rather selecting that which will make us feel good. And that's all DEI, or before this, it was called affirmative action. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's to make white liberals feel better about themselves, that they are so enlightened that they're raising other people up. Well, excuse me, if you have to say, I'm not going to take the best and brightest, I'm going to take a black woman, does that not necessarily imply that from your perspective, a black woman is not going to be the best and brightest because, well, you have to specifically say, I'm only going to draw from this pool. It is a tragedy what's going on in Los Angeles, an unmitigated disaster, but it is a disaster born of the liberal mindset that does not demand more of government and instead seeks to blame as a way of shielding government, of shielding specific actors like Karen Bass, like Gavin Newsom, like the diverse fire chief, by blaming climate change or systemic injustice. These are societal problems that those specific government actors, well, they will never be able to totally solve because Republicans who have zero institutional power in Los Angeles, zero, none. This is why they're all turning on Karen Bass, because there isn't a Republican for 1,000 miles that they could potentially blame. Donald Trump isn't even in office yet. You can't blame him for another 10 days. So instead, they'll blame nebulous concepts that other people, read straight white males, are responsible for and not them. Climate change didn't fail to fill that reservoir. Climate change didn't cut the fire department's budget. Climate change didn't do the controlled burns of forest land that you said you were going to do, Governor Newsom, you absolute slimy piece of trash. And yes, I am getting fired up about this because 10 people have died and they are refusing to accept accountability for their own failures. We'll be right back.
It's time for Rapid Traffic.
Northbound on 43, got a stalled vehicle on the exit to Locust. It's only partially blocking 12 minutes from the Marquette up to Brown Deer. Over on 4145 southbound at North Ave, you got a stall on the right shoulder. It's taking you 12 from Good Hope to the Zoo. If you see any issues, call the Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank total traffic tip line at 414-944-5111.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Hi, it's Rob Radisky here, a veteran designer at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart, and we're inviting you to come take a look at the fully built kitchens and baths in our sprawling 18,000 square foot showroom. It's truly one of a kind, and while showcasing the special attention to detail we put into our work as designers, this enormous showroom gives you the opportunity to envision real possibilities for your home. For almost 75 years, the dedicated team at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has created kitchen and bathroom remodels that have set us apart as the best. We create kitchens that balance style and efficiency. The same goes for bathrooms too. See the full displays in our 18,000 square foot showroom. With our wide selection of flooring, Play-Doh custom cabinetry, appliances, and countertops, you'll get everything you need in one spot. For a free consult and more info, visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com or visit our showroom to see for yourself. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart.
107,471. Is that A, the number of minutes spent listening to your kids describe their favorite YouTuber's latest video? B, the combined number of calories you consume during football season? Or C, the number of households left without power during one of the last big winter storms? While A and B may be true, the real answer is C. But this winter, that 6-digit number can be reduced by 1 with your brand new whole house Generac generator from Mr. Holland's Home Services. We hardwire your new generator directly into your home's electrical system. Lights stay glowing, Wi-Fi goes on flowing, and your furnace keeps it going. All thanks to your new whole house Generac generator from Mr. Holland's Home Services. Oh, did I mention payments for as low as $99 a month? Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Ready to power through another winter? We can help.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semperfi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
The first time I walked into Canine Resorts of Brookfield Luxury Pet Hotel and Daycare, I was amazed. Jerry Bott here. Canine Resorts is a doggy daycare and boarding facility focused on comfort, cleanliness, and care. Gorgeous facility, climate controlled with air purifiers, staffed by people who love dogs. Add that up, whether for daycare or an extended stay, and you get happy dogs and owners with peace of mind. Canine Resorts is on Blue Mound Road in Brookfield. Just stop in, take a tour. Through February, if you're a new customer, mention WISN when you register and get 3 days of daycare free.
Catering to all who appreciate quality installation, a great value, and the finest windows and doors. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Our new and improved iHeartRadio app has made it even easier to enjoy the radio station's podcasts and playlists you love. How? Well, we've added everything you love about your car radio into the free iHeartRadio app. With easy-to-use presets, you can now save your favorite stations on the app, just like in your car. And with the all-new live radio dial, it's easier than ever to discover new stations you'll love based on your location or favorite genre. Find out what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio! This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Wisconsin. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. President Biden is apparently going to brag about the economy at some point. He's going to give an Oval Office address, one of two speeches to shape his legacy in his mind. But his legacy is going to be the decline of his mind. Honestly, when people look back at the Biden presidency, and I know this is going to be warped in as much as news reports are the first draft of history, and we all know how awful the news business has been in covering both Trump and Biden. But an honest, sober look at the Biden presidency, I think, is going to start and end with the fact that this was clearly a man who had no business being anywhere near the levers of power in this country. He was always a buffoon. He was always, according to the available evidence, deeply, deeply corrupt. And he lost his faculties. This was not the same Biden that we saw on the campaign trail in 2020. And that Biden was a far cry from the Biden who gave the address. I don't know if he gave the keynote, but he gave a big speech at the Democratic National Convention in 2016. And even that Biden was a far cry from the one who ran for re-election with Barack Obama and debated against Paul Ryan in 2012. He is just not the same person. And right before Christmas, there was that bombshell article in the Wall Street Journal about the first couple of months of Biden's presidency, when there was a cabinet secretary who called up and said, there's an issue I need to speak with the president about. He was told by one of Biden's aides, well, Biden has good days and bad days, and today is a bad day, and we're going to have to deal with this tomorrow. That was months into his presidency. That was 2021. We haven't had a fully functioning president for the past 4 years. That's the biggest political scandal, arguably, of our lifetime. And in order to protect this enfeebled president, the justice system that he, in name at least, oversaw, was weaponized against his chief opponent. That's beyond scandalous. Absolutely beyond scandalous. But this is what happens when you have incompetent leadership at any level. And Democrats just seem to be way better at being totally and thoroughly incompetent. Like, how about Gavin Newsom? Yesterday, a woman tried to talk to him, and Newsom did the old, I'm going to pretend I'm on the phone to get away from her. Well, this lady was not having it.
I ask you.
That's not it. Here we go.
Governor, you got a second?
No.
Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
to fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I would. I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do. Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing?
Thank you.
Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
Right now.
So that was yesterday. Today, Newsom ordered a review. He's ordering an investigation into why there was no water in the fire hydrants. I think it's safe to say that that woman was a big reason why. I think every single person in Los Angeles owes that woman a debt of gratitude. Let's go to Mike in Raleigh, North Carolina. Mike, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, sir?
Hey, Dan, Happy New Year, and very heartfelt congratulations. I've been listening to you since you were a fill-in, and now rise to the best slot on the time slot. I think it's well-deserved. Congratulations.
Well,
I'm going to miss Mark.
Mike, thank you so much.
I'm sure that I'll, the comment I had for you is as we said goodbye to Jimmy Carter at the end of 2024, I think it's very clear that, like some people do near the end, they hang on as long as they can, waiting for something. And I think he was waiting to know in his heart of hearts that he would not go down in history as the worst president in our nation's history.
Mike, I could not be prouder to have you as a listener. Biden, by the way, thank you so much for the kind words, Mike. I really do appreciate that. Biden, he had to know what he was saying. In some recesses of his psyche, in some part of his brain that's still functional, he had to know that tossing it to his Vice President Kamala Harris yesterday and saying, fire away, was a bad idea.
Madam Vice President, I know you're directly affected, so you fire away. No pun intended.
Indeed. Absolute buffoonery at every level of Democrat leadership. We will name the unsung hero of the day next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
It's time for Rapid Traffic.
From the Lynch Truck Center, Total Traffic Center, the 94 eastbound exit ramp to Moreland is partially blocked with an accident. Southbound on 894 after Beloit, you got an accident. That one is off to the right shoulder. If you see any issues, call the Total Traffic Tip line at 414-944-5111. I'm Kevin Henry.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go, because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times, combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Dan Small here. Join me for the latest info on your favorite outdoor activities, Saturday morning at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Remy Battery, serving Milwaukee since 1931. RemyBattery.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Market Watcher Brian Wickert.
Well, a lot of folks have buying a home on their New Year's resolution list, and while national news headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, I'm afraid that's just not the case in most of Wisconsin. So how do you make your offer stand out from the others so that someone else doesn't end up sleeping in your dream home? Well, it takes a team of a good real estate agent and a mortgage lender who has all the tools and techniques to help make your offer as attractive as possible in the eyes of that seller. Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you can present your offer with an AccuNet, rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that might also come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. We'll also help you understand exactly what it means in dollars and cents if you do decide to offer over asking or give that seller some appraisal wiggle room. All you have to do to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
You love her twice as much today as the day you married her, right?
Welcome to Kessler's. Saving you money, I'm Hillary Barsky. As we enter the new year, many people are making resolutions to save this year, not trying to buy every item they desire. But that's often hard to do. But before you pull the trigger, there's some things to ponder before you make a purchase. Like when you see a great coupon or a sale sign, perhaps think twice and ask yourself, do you really need the item? Or are you just getting it because there's a 30% off tag on the label? And before you say yes to store credit cards along with offers of discounts, rewards, and special coupons, at the same time, it can also jeopardize your credit score, and you could potentially rack up huge interest payments. And if you're in the market for some new clothes, think about buying used goods. There are so many apps and sites that are geared toward pre-owned items like Poshmark and ThreadUp. When it comes to used electronics, be sure to read descriptions, reviews, and return policies carefully. And if you really need to make a big-ticket purchase, try to hold out for big sales. Saving you money, Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Classical conservatism and contemporary style. It's what we do here each and every afternoon on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We also name someone who goes above and beyond. It is time today, right now, to name the unsung hero of the day. Him in Notre Dame head football coach Marcus Freeman, not just for securing a spot in the national championship game with a big win last night in the Orange Bowl, the national semifinal over Penn State, but after the game, when he and his team were on the stage and the ESPN reporter tried to make it all about his race.
You are the first black head coach to go to a national championship game in college football. Just hearing that response alone, how much does this mean to you?
You know, I've said this before. I don't ever want to take attention away from the team. It is an honor, and I hope all coaches, minorities, black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter, great people continue to get opportunities to lead young men like this. But this ain't about me. This is about us. And we're going to celebrate what we've done because it's something special.
Now, as great as that answer was, can you believe that wasn't the first time this college football playoff that Freeman has said something similar? Before the last game, the quarterfinal against Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl, he was asked about being the first black football coach, along with James Franklin, who he beat for Penn State last night, in the college football playoff.
You and James Franklin are kind of making history here. Can you kind of just put in perspective what it means to you to be, you know, one of two black coaches in this playoffs? Yeah, it's again, you're very grateful.
it's a reminder that you are a representation for many others, and many of our players that look the same way I do. That, you know, your color shouldn't matter, right? And that the evidence of your work should.
He was given 2 opportunities to grandstand and take a bow, but instead he said what I hope all of us would, that the color of your skin doesn't matter, the content of your character does, the magnitude of not your own personal accomplishments, but the accomplishments that you have as a team. As the leader of that team, you don't take any personal glory. You always defer that to the men on the field. Marcus Freeman, a true coach, a true leader, and your unsung hero of the day. A lot of movement at Facebook today. I can't believe the New York Times is reporting that Mark Zuckerberg, this is not satire, personally ordered all of the tampons out of the men's bathrooms at Facebook headquarters. But that wasn't, that's a real story. That is the New York Times. That's not the Onion. That's not the Babylon Bee. That's not the biggest thing he did today. Joe Rogan with a bombshell interview. We'll get to that next.
Follow Dan at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next. News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. While President-elect Donald Trump has been sentenced in his hush money case, in essence, he avoided any punishment.
President-elect Trump spoke before he was sentenced to unconditional discharge by New York City Judge Juan Merchan, once again maintaining his innocence.
It's been a political witch hunt. It was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election, and obviously that didn't work.
Then Judge Merchan made it official.
At this time, I impose that sentence to cover all 34 counts. Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office.
It cements his conviction and formally makes Trump, who appeared virtually, a felon, but frees him to return to the Oval Office in 10 days without being under threat of jail time or fines. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Prosecutors in Milwaukee have charged a man in connection to a dogfighting ring on the city's north side. Fox 6's Zoe Chapala.
Dogfighting is a felony offense in all 50 states, but it still happens in many areas across the country. Unfortunately, police say Milwaukee is no exception. That's why they arrested 22-year-old Jeffrey Thompson. Prosecutors suspect him of running a dogfighting ring after police seized half a dozen pit bulls from his home on North 6th Street just last week.
Thompson will be back in court next week, and we're learning more information on the arrest of a triple murder suspect in Juneau County.
Virgil Thu was arrested Thursday, 10 days after the bodies of 33-year-old Elizabeth Kolba and 2 girls ages 12 and 13 were found by New Lisbon police in a home there. According to a press release from the New Lisbon Police Department, the Juneau County Communications Center received a report of a suspicious individual just before noon in Elroy, about 12 miles south of New Lisbon. A deputy dispatched to the location identified Thu and arrested him without incident. Sean Maloney, Wisconsin Radio Network.
Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac. Sports scoreboard, Bucks are in Orlando tonight to take on the Magic. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, WISN News Center. I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Cloudy skies for your day today with a few chances of flurries or a few snow showers heading into the afternoon and evening. Highs will be in the upper 20s. We'll be tracking temperatures dropping into the teens tonight. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Next Tuesday, you'll go to your business. You'll stand there in your office and make decisions. I think when you make decisions, it might be well for you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for your business to buy things you need to increase profitability than it was 4 years ago? Does your business have more or less unemployment? Is your business as respected as it was? Do you feel your business is on as secure financial grounds as it was 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then, I think your choice is very obvious as to who handles your brand and marketing. If you don't think the marketing course is what you would like to see your business follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
INET is improving the economy one business at a time. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com, INET-Web.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth, carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements, with convenient financing options including 18 months no-interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. CallRyan.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. S&K, pump and plumbing.
Homes that show they are built with care.
Bellman Homes.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Coal Investment Group is a registered investment advisor. Call 262-522-4040.
News about you and your money. The Business Report from the Coal Investment Group.
Good afternoon. I'm Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Joe Still with your closing business report. The major averages fell today after a hot jobs report diminished Wall Street's expectations for more interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve this year. U.S. payrolls grew by 256,000 in December, significantly more than the 155,000 economists expected. Meanwhile, shares of Walgreens Boots Alliance soared 28% after posting better than expected results for the fiscal first quarter, beating estimates on adjusted earnings per share and revenue. The company also maintained its fiscal 2025 adjusted earnings guidance range. On the day, the Dow was down 696 to 41,938. The S&P 500 fell 91, and the Nasdaq was lower by 317 points. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to stay up to date with the latest news on investing, retirement, and market trends. From the Coal Investment Group, the retirement specialists, I'm Joe Still.
As promised, I have in the studio here with me Program Director Jerry Bott. We've got Dan O'Donnell in the studio, Ben Yount in the studio, and Vicki McKenna, because there's a major announcement we've been teasing for 2 days.
When Mr. Belling decided to take his program and make it podcast only, obviously that means that we're going to have to make some adjustments.
The next generation is here.
In afternoon drive, it will be the Dan O'Donnell Show from 3 to 6.
Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I am debating whether to take President Biden, who is live from the White House, making remarks about the economy. I sort of feel an obligation to do so, but I'm also feeling, screw it. I don't want to hear from him. Sadly, he is still the president for another 10 days. Here's the old man. Maybe he'll say something totally nuts we can laugh at.
I mean, I want to know what that's all about.
Hey, he did. First thing he said. What do you know?
We want to tell the truth.
Oh,
we haven't always done it as a nation, but we want to tell the truth. And the idea that, a billionaire can buy something and say, by the way, from this point on, we're not gonna fact check anything. And when you have millions of people going online, reading this stuff, it is anyway. I think it's really shameful.
All right, what he's talking about is Facebook's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, said in a pre-recorded message that played a couple of days ago that Facebook was going to replace its live fact checkers with Twitter or X's community notes model. And this is actually a pretty good segue into what I was planning on covering this segment. A bombshell interview that Zuckerberg gave on the heels of that announcement to Joe Rogan, which is very damning towards the Biden administration. Zuckerberg said that Facebook would get calls from Biden administration executives screaming at them to censor various forms of content that were being posted on the platform.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and scream at them and curse, and it's these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, this sort of class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then all these different agencies and branches of government basically just started investigating and coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
We did actually know that was going on because of a previous interview that Zuckerberg gave on the Joe Rogan podcast, August of 2022. The FBI had an agent essentially embedded at Facebook saying, watch out for something coming out about Hunter Biden in the days, weeks, months before the 2020 election. Sure enough, it was the laptop. Now, the FBI knew that the laptop was legitimate because, well, they had the physical laptop, but the FBI was also telling Facebook, also Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, that this was Russian disinformation and that they needed to censor this for the good of the people. You just heard Joe Biden say, I think it's unconscionable that they won't censor information. That is not the role of the federal government. In fact, that is antithetical to the role of the federal government, to the point that we made that a fundamental right that the individual has. You have a right to spread misinformation, believe it or not. You have a right to lie. Liberals, I know you can't possibly fathom this, which is ironic because you people lie literally all the time. You have a right to freedom of speech. Facebook, yes, can censor whatever speech it wants. And Zuckerberg said in his video a couple of days ago that, look, we walk a fine line. Some content clearly can't be on there. Drug sales, child pornography, that sort of thing. But political opinions like the vaccine is unsafe, posting a Leonardo DiCaprio meme. It was the meme where, you know, if you've been harmed by the vaccine, and it's him from, I believe that's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's a very popular meme. It's like him pointing at the TV like, hey, that's me. They wanted all of that censored. Once they actually got power and saw how powerful the censorship of the Biden laptop was, they knew that they needed to protect their vaccine rollout and protect their COVID mandates from the dangers of any sort of alternative narrative. Alternative narratives that, by the way, turned out to be true, like, hey, the vaccine doesn't seem to be stopping the spread of COVID-19, and neither are mask mandates. And Zuckerberg actually told Rogan today that that's when the censorship from the Biden administration really hit its stride.
When it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, in the beginning it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. We're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
Now, some might think that Zuckerberg is feeling the heat. I joked earlier in the week that he was visited by 3 ghosts, and the one that really scared him was the ghost of Trumpmas' future. He sees that Donald Trump is about to take power and understands that Trump knows just how badly Facebook impacted the 2020 election and has impacted American society. We have not been free for a significant portion of the past 4 years to express our opinions. Now, Facebook doing that is one thing. Facebook at the behest, either being threatened, which I don't totally believe. I believe that Facebook was a willing accomplice in the censorship scheme. Look, Facebook was giving data way back in 2012 to the Barack Obama re-election campaign. Data that would be worth millions upon millions of dollars, just willingly sharing it with Barack Obama's re-election campaign. That was more valuable than possibly anything else, and it was unprecedented at the time that you could have that many people sharing that much demographic information about themselves publicly. Facebook was going even a step further and saying, okay, all this stuff that we know about what they're doing, they were just sharing it with. So this has been a very left-leaning company. Look no further than 2020, the National Vote at Home Institute, which basically took over the election in Green Bay, as well as burrowing itself into the election operations in Milwaukee. That was funded by Mark Zuckerberg's foundation. They were called Zuckerbucks. Now, you might think that, and frankly, I'm still not totally convinced, but I'm at least raising the possibility that Zuckerberg has actually gotten red-pilled. According to the New York Times, not only did Facebook today end its corporate DEI program, Zuckerberg himself ordered all of the tampon dispensers out of men's restrooms at Meta headquarters. Meta, of course, the parent company of Facebook. That is a real story. It does not sound real at all. It doesn't sound real that there would be tampon dispensers in a men's bathroom, period, but such is life in 2025. Regardless of what brought about this change, it's undeniably a good thing. The free exchange of information is necessary for a free society. We haven't had a free society for quite some time because we haven't been allowed a free exchange of ideas. Whether we like it or not, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, these are the biggest communication mediums in the world. I love to think it's the Dan O'Donnell Show and talk radio, but it clearly is not. People are being far more impacted by what they see on Facebook or younger people on TikTok and Snapchat than anything I or any other broadcaster possibly says. Does that raise the possibility that some information, even a lot of information, is going to be false? Yes, it does. But at what point did we start seeing the American news consumer as a gullible child? Do you realize that in the earliest days of print journalism in this country, and pretty much right up until 1950s, 1960s, the dawn of broadcast journalism, there were Republican newspapers and Democrat newspapers in pretty much every city in America? The Chicago Tribune was always the Republican paper. The Chicago Sun-Times was always the Democrat paper. We had an era of yellow journalism in which stories were actually just sort of made up to sell papers. I'm old enough to remember when I was a kid, when I was like 9, 10 years old, do you know what the best thing I would ask my mom every single time we would go on an airplane? I would ask her for, we'd go to the newsstands, but guess what paper? Guess what paper 10-year-old Dan O'Donnell wanted to get? Not National Enquirer, Weekly World News. You remember Bat Boy? The boy with the face of a bat who was found in a cave in Kentucky somewhere. Weekly World News would have all sorts of fantastical, like Bill Clinton meets alien was one of their covers. It was the Enquirer, but way weirder and way more obviously fake. It was just a fake news. It was a literal fake newspaper. And they even made fun of it in the movie Men in Black. Tommy Lee Jones's character, they're fighting aliens. And he goes to a newsstand and he picks up the Weekly World News. He says, this is the only place you can find out what's really going on because it reported on all the aliens. It was a wonderful moment in cinema. And I, of course, ate it up as an avid consumer of the Weekly World News. But even I, as a 9-year-old in 1991, understood that this stuff is fake. It's fake news. The onus is always on the consumer. It's let the buyer beware, right? The buyer, i.e. the consumer of news, has to be vigilant and has to have at least some baseline understanding of what is real, what is true. The founders of this country understood that, and they enshrined the First Amendment to protect the press and to protect the free exchange of ideas from government intervention, because they knew if government could shape the press, if government could shape the narrative, and government could, by force, shape people's worldview, those people were not free. So today was alarming, but this week was a very big positive step in the battle for a free exchange of ideas. How bizarre, coming up next on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is The Dan O'Donnell Show. It's time for Rapid Traffic.
On the Lynch Truck Center, Total Traffic Center, still got crash cleanup on the 94 eastbound exit ramp to Moreland Road. It's partially blocking that ramp. Southbound on 894, got a crash off to the right shoulder after Beloit. 4145 southbound tight from Hampton to Capitol. If you see any issues, call the Total Traffic Tip line at 414-944-5111.
This report is sponsored by PureTalk.com. It's time to ditch big wireless. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on America's most dependable 5G network. Switch today. Just dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
In a recent study, over 1/3 of millionaires predicted their ability to feel financially secure in retirement is going to take a miracle. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe a plan, not a miracle, will help increase your retirement confidence. Our team of experts gets to work using leading-edge technology to build comprehensive plans covering investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. And Annex doesn't have products to push with hidden fees or commissions. There's too much of that already. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary. More planning, fewer miracles. Know the difference. AnnexWealth.com.
This is your year to visit Canada.
Make this your year to visit Canada. The All Canada Show is the largest gathering of Canadian fishing and hunting lodges in the U.S. Meet the lodge owners, see great seminars, and enjoy an ice-cold Labatt Blue. We're giving away a fantastic Canadian fishing trip. Kids get in free, and everyone gets a free Daredevil lure on opening night, January 17th through the 19th at the Brookfield Conference Center. Free parking. Details and discounted tickets at allcanada.com.
The All Canada Show.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Make your drive into 2025 in a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or a GM certified pre-owned model and save during the New Year's sale at Holiday. Connect with us for enticing offers. Get our low simplified price plus deep closeout savings on remaining new 2024s. Already driving a Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC? Ask us about GM loyalty rewards that may benefit you or someone in your household. They're available on many Wisconsin new car favorites this month. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
During your career, investments piled up from 401ks to brokerage accounts. It turned into quite a collection. At Annex Wealth Management, we believe every portfolio tells a story. We've analyzed thousands. Some reflect diligence and fortitude. Others, a mishmash of overlapping investments. When Annex reviews a portfolio, we spot what works, what might not, and then provide unbiased suggestions. Every portfolio tells a story. Let's work on yours. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning as a fee-only fiduciary. That's our story. Head to AnnexWealth.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0376. That's 800-291-0376. 800-291-0376.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
about 12, 13 minutes, we will chat with the voice of your Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrivee, about the upcoming playoff matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't have a good feeling about that one. Not the way the Packers have been playing for the last 3 weeks. I could see this one getting real ugly real fast. So, to put us in a good mood, let's take a break from the serious business of the First Amendment and the weaponization of the justice system, the fires in L.A. Let's focus instead, not on the serious, but on the silly, the strange, the stories this week that made us scratch our heads and say to ourselves, how bizarre! A couple in Melbourne, Australia, had their marriage annulled after the bride told a court she thought their wedding was a social media stunt designed to boost the groom's Instagram following. This was from October. A family court judgment published just yesterday. The judge annulled the December 2023 nuptials after finding the bride believed she was acting in a social media event rather than in a legally binding wedding ceremony. The bride, who is not being named by the UK Guardian for legal reasons, told the court she met the group on a dating app in September of that year. So they meet in September. They're married by December, and she doesn't see anything suspicious about this whatsoever. At the time, she was in her mid-20s. He was in his late 30s. For the next 3 months, they remained in contact before she said the groom invited her to a white party in Sydney in December. She said she arrived at the venue and was shocked to learn the man had organized a wedding. The bride said she became uncomfortable and wanted to leave, but the groom told her it was a simple prank. When I got there, she said, and I didn't see anybody in white, I asked him what's happening. He told me he's organizing a prank wedding for his social media, to be precise, Instagram, because he wants to boost his content and wants to start monetizing his Instagram page. In court, footage of the ceremony was played showing the couple exchanging vows and rings. When the bride appeared to enthusiastically participate in the ceremony, she told the court it was all an act. We had to act to make it look real, she said. She only discovered the sham wedding was legal after he asked her to add his name to her application for permanent residency. There you go. She said the groom told her he was not a permanent resident and organized the marriage to help him. She said she was furious and had been lied to from the beginning. The bride said she would not get married without her parents' permission and presence, nor without a bridal gown or at a reception. Afterwards, the groom, who has 17,000 followers on Instagram, denied he was a social media influencer, but disputed her version of events, testifying that immediately after they met, he told her he was bisexual and that she was cool with it and moved into his home. He told the court he proposed to her a day before the wedding. She did not include the proposal in her affidavit, but did not deny it in court. However, he could not explain why the wedding had to occur so soon after the proposal or why they were married in Sydney instead of Melbourne. The court also heard he signed a notice of intention to marry her on the 20th of November, weeks before the proposal. He said the wedding was intended to be intimate before an official wedding ceremony in their home country at a later date, and they both agreed to those circumstances. However, the judge said the assertion was so bereft of detail as to be near meaningless. I'll tell you, I have not heard of a legal proceeding that obviously bunk since Trump's trial.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
All right, if you've got a weak stomach, you might want to cover your ears for this one. In Polk County, Florida, a man and woman deputies are calling Mr. Clean and Ms. Dookie are on the run after a messy burglary at a Family Dollar. According to the sheriff's office, a man and a woman walked into the store and played very different roles in a $500 retail heist. The man walked around the store gathering nearly $500 worth of products, Gain, Tide, Clorox, that sort of thing. While he was gathering cleaning supplies, deputies say a woman distracted employees by, well, you can see where she got the nickname Ms. Dookie. Deputies noted that an employee had to clean up the mess she made. The couple left the store in a white van. In a post on social media, the sheriff's office said, if you recognize Mr. Clean or Ms. Dookie or have information regarding this investigation, please contact the detective's office at a number that they provided. I mean, I don't want to state the obvious, but if they don't know where Ms. Dookie is, it seems like she made a clean getaway.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
And finally, right here at home, Waukesha, Wisconsin, a couple already charged with having sex in the Waukesha County Jail lobby are now accused of having sex at a laundromat in Waukesha on Christmas Eve, no less. Desmond Cleveland was accused of giving the old Yule log to Karen Hill, and both are now charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct. Hill is additionally charged with 2 counts of misdemeanor bail jumping, as well as 1 count of turning my stomach. Police were called to the laundromat near Hartwell and Broadway December 24th. According to the complaint, the owner of the laundromat said he was watching security video. Oh, I'll bet he was watching He was watching very intently. And no, he couldn't answer where his hands were at the time. He saw 2 people engaging in sexual intercourse under a blanket in full view of the camera. At one point in the video, prosecutors said the blanket slipped and both Cleveland and Hill could be seen with their pants down. An unsuspecting patron was sitting not far from them the entire time. An employee yelled at the 2 to get out and apologized to the other customers per that complaint. Merry Christmas, I guess.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is a segment we call
How bizarre! How bizarre!
And we will be right back with Wayne Larrabee here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
It's time for Rapid Traffic.
Eastbound on 94 through Waukesha County, slow from Barker to Moreland. You have that ramp